During a House hearing in early 2026, a California congresswoman directly questioned Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem about the role of Corey Lewandowski at the Department of Homeland Security and allegations of a romantic relationship between Noem and Lewandowski. The congresswoman stated that Lewandowski, designated as a special government employee, wields significant authority at DHS despite having no national security, military, or law enforcement experience. According to the representative's characterization, Lewandowski has fired DHS officials, influenced decisions on detention facilities, and exercises power over major contracts. The questioning included a direct ask, at any time during your tenure as Director of Department of Homeland Security, have you had sexual relations with Corey Lewandowski? Secretary Noem declined to answer, calling the question tabloid garbage and noting that Lewandowski is one of thousands of special government employees across the federal government. The congresswoman reframed the inquiry as concerning judgment, conflicts of interest, and national security, arguing that personal relationships could compromise decision-making at an agency responsible for protecting the homeland during a period of elevated threats. Watch how the questioning began.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Secretary, for joining us. Finally, you are in charge of protecting the homeland, and so your judgment and the judgment of your senior staff can be the difference between life and death. So I think that judgment would need to be unassailable. Why then, is the question, have you made Corey Lewandowski your de facto chief of staff who possesses an unchecked level of power at DHS? Under your leadership, this person has done things like fire your FEMA administrator while sitting behind your desk, which is your job to do, lobby to build the controversial detention facility known as Alligator Alcatraz, which has turned into a legal boondoggle costing Florida millions, and have veto and reviewing and signing power over large DHS contracts and grants, which again is your job. DHS has critical agency components like the Secret Service, FEMA, Border Patrol, cybersecurity. So does Corey Lewandowski have national security experience, military experience, law enforcement experience? No. He is a lobbyist, a failed campaign manager, which is causing my constituents who are waiting for their FEMA dollars and me to wonder what are his qualifications for this job. So according to the Wall Street Journal, you and Mr. L have a close relationship that has made President Trump, quote, uncomfortable. The president reportedly denounced Corey Lewandowski as your chief of staff due to reports of a romantic relationship between the two of you. So instead, you designated him as a special government employee, a position he has had well beyond the allowed 130 days and requires him to disclose if he is making money off of his position. Trump knows that this guy is shady. Corey has a decades-long record of physical battery, sexual harassment, illegal lobbying for a Venezuelan oil company, and bringing a loaded gun into a federal building. Despite being fired or removed from virtually every position he has ever held due to misconduct, he now wields unchecked, unconfirmed, undisclosed power over your department. This person has no experience running anything close to Department of Homeland Security or even advising someone in your position. He is unqualified, which again has left my constituents and I wondering why he is your top official. So Secretary Noem, at any time during your tenure as Director of Department of Homeland Security, have you had sexual relations with Corey Lewandowski?
Mr. Chairman, I am shocked that we're going down and peddling tabloid garbage in this committee today.
Reclaiming my
And ma'am,
time.
one thing that I would tell you is that he is a special government employee who works for the White House. There are thousands of them in the federal government.
The Congresswoman's allegations about Corey Lewandowski's role and authority at DHS represent claims that would be verifiable through DHS organizational documents, personnel records, and public reporting. Lewandowski's official designation as a special government employee is a position used across federal agencies for temporary advisors. Federal ethics regulations limit special government employees to 130 days of service per year. The Congresswoman alleged Lewandowski has served well beyond the allowed 130 days, which would constitute a violation of SGE rules if accurate. The specific claim that Lewandowski fired your FEMA administrator while sitting behind your desk would be verifiable through FEMA personnel records and reporting about leadership changes. Multiple outlets have reported on personnel turnover and management tensions at DHS during Noem's tenure. The reference to Alligator Alcatraz, described as a detention facility that has turned into a legal boondoggle costing Florida millions, appears to refer to a detention center project that has faced legal challenges. The Congresswoman alleged Lewandowski lobbied for its construction. Lewandowski's background is documented through public records. He served as Donald Trump's 2016 campaign manager before being dismissed in June 2016. He was charged with battery in March 2016 following an incident with a reporter, though prosecutors later dropped the charges. He subsequently founded a lobbying and consulting firm. The Wall Street Journal, reporting the Congresswoman, cited that Noem and Lewandowski have a close relationship that has made President Trump uncomfortable, represents journalism from a major publication. According to the Congresswoman's characterization, the Journal reported Trump's concerns about the nature of the relationship and Lewandowski's role. The Congresswoman's reference to illegal lobbying for a Venezuelan oil company relates to reporting that Lewandowski's firm worked with a Venezuela state-owned entity, raising questions about Foreign Agents Registration Act compliance. Secretary Noem's response, characterizing the question as tabloid garbage, declined to provide a direct answer. Her statement that Lewandowski is a special government employee who works for the White House and that there are thousands of them in the federal government framed his position as routine. The exchange was interrupted multiple times, with the chair noting that time belongs to the gentle lady from California, but it'd be nice if you would let her respond, suggesting Noem attempted to answer but was cut off. Watch how the Congresswoman reframed the question.
It is okay for you to be offended by it is okay for you to be offended by
making
but it is
decisions
also a real
position.
question.
So what I would say
and
to
you should be able to
is
answer
that
the
what
question
we do at the Department of Homeland
clearly
Security every single
and without
day,
any hesitation.
every single day is to protect
if
this
someone
country
is
and
asking
to make
if
decisions.
you or any federal official is sleeping with their subordinate, that should be the easiest. You should be wanting to answer that question.
As garbage,
because it is not about
it is
your sex life.
that you have brought
it is
that
about
up.
your judgment.
That kind of garbage
it is
has
about
been refuted
reclaiming
for
my
years,
time so
and
that
you
I
need
can
to
hear myself.
recognize-
Time belongs to the gentlelady from California, but it'd be nice if you would let her respond.
I will. I want to let you know it is about your judgment and decision-making. It is about the 260,000 employees that work under you that want to make sure that you are giving information and making decisions clearly. It is about conflict of interest. It is about a national security risk. Department of Homeland Security was created right after 9/11 to protect the homeland. And DHS has circulated an internal bulletin to law enforcement partners warning that the conflict of the war we're in could inspire lone actors or small-scale cyber activity inside the United States, according to a memo obtained by ABC News. So American lives are at risk. The people who work for you are at risk. And they want to know that the person at the top, you, are making decisions clearly without any sort of cloudiness, and that they're your decisions because you're the secretary who was confirmed. That's what this is about. Saving the lives of Americans and not costing them millions of dollars and not having a secretary who's compromised in her decision-making. And Mr. Chair, before I yield my time, I would like to enter into the record some articles, and I'm asking for unanimous consent. Noem tightens her grip on DHS. Lewandowski fired FEMA admin.
Without objection.
Okay. The next one is Kristi Noem secretly took a cut of political donations from ProPublica.
Without objection.
Kristi Noem fires pilot over a blanket, but is forced to reinstate him to fly home, Wall Street Journal.
Without objection.
Lewandowski taking out trash at Noem's D.C. home, Daily Beast.
Without objection.
Barbie's Mile High privacy chamber with alleged lover exposed. Wall Street Journal, how Corey Lewandowski became Kristi Noem's gatekeeper at DHS.
Objection.
A pilot fired over Kristi Noem's missing blanket and the constant chaos inside DHS.
Objection.
Wall Street Journal. Police charged Trump campaign manager with assault. PBS News.
Objection.
Woman who accused Corey Lewandowski of assault speaks out. I don't want this to happen to anyone else. CBS
Objection.
News. Lewandowski's firm quietly inked deal with Venezuela-owned company Politico.
Objection.
List of U.S. cities raising security amid Iran conflict. Newsweek.
Objection.
Kristi Noem, I have a few more, I'm sorry. Kristi Noem misled Congress yesterday about top aides' role in DHS contracts.
Objection.
Policy number 10271 from ICE, it is an anti-fraternization policy prohibiting romantic or sexual relationships between supervisors and their subordinates. And with that, I yield.
The Congresswoman's reframing shifted focus from personal conduct to institutional concerns, whether personal relationships compromise judgment, create conflicts of interest, or present national security risks. Federal ethics rules generally prohibit romantic or sexual relationships between supervisors and subordinates due to favoritism concerns and compromised decision-making. The reference to 260,000 employees at DHS is accurate. The department is one of the largest federal agencies. The Congresswoman's citation of an internal DHS bulletin warning about threats from the conflict of the war we're in references intelligence assessments related to the Iran conflict and potential domestic terrorism. The Congresswoman submitted multiple news articles for the Congressional Record. Several received objections from Republican members, preventing them from being officially entered unless the full committee votes to include them. The articles cited come from the Wall Street Journal, ProPublica, Politico, PBS News, CBS News, and Daily Beast. The ICE Policy 10271, which the Congresswoman described as prohibiting romantic or sexual relationships between supervisors and their subordinates, was entered without objection. If such a policy applies at DHS, it would establish standards relevant to the Congresswoman's line of questioning. What remains unresolved? Secretary Noem did not directly answer whether she has had a romantic relationship with Lewandowski. The factual claims about Lewandowski's authority, firing officials, influencing contracts, exceeding the 130-day SGE limit could be verified through DHS records and Office of Government Ethics filings. Whether his role represents inappropriate influence or routine advisory function remains contested. If you'd like to stay with me for future updates and analysis, make sure you subscribe and support the video with a like. Thank you for spending this time with me.